Very good morning to all. Today we will continue with the second unit of subject midwifery and obstetrical nursing. In that we have completed review of anatomy and physiology of female reproductive system, menstrual cycles, and now we'll move to the embryology. Embryology, it is also known as the development of the fetus inside the uterine cavity. It's how the fetus they are developing inside the uterine cavity from the conception of the pregnancy until 8 weeks. That is known as embryology. Introduction of the embryology. Every individual they spend the first 9 months. If you remember that the duration of normal pregnancy that is 9 months, that is 266 days or 38 weeks. And the individual they spend this life within the womb of the mother, and that womb it is the uterus. In the uterus, the fetus or embryo they'll spend the 9 months and 38 weeks. And during this period, it is developed from a small cell structure. As if you remember that for the pregnancy there are two main cells they are needed, that is ovum from the female and sperm from the male. And the unite that is formed it is a zygote, and zygote is also a one small cell like structure. And from that one cell like structure the organisms they are having of billions of the cells. Numerous tissues and organs are formed. During this embryological development, the tissues and organs they are formed, means development of the tissues and organs will be there, and they come to function in the perfect harmony. Means the 9 months of the life of the baby that is inside the uterine cavity. In that period, the all the babies, the developments of the organs, systems, and tissues will be there. Definition of embryology. Okay. Embryology is the study of formation and development of the embryo or fetus. Logy means that is indicate that it is a study, but what for the formation and development of the embryo from the moment of its inception. Inception means conception, means the moment when there is a unite of ovum and sperm is formed, that is known as inception. Up to the time when it is born as an infant, and this tells us how the organs of the body develops. So under the embryological study or under this development, we'll come to know how each and every organs during which weeks what is the development of the embryo or fetus will be there. Next, fertilization. Okay. So fertilization in simple, it is a process by which the ovum and sperm they fuse with each other and they form the cycles. Okay. So new life they begin with the fusion of the sperm and ovum, and this process of fusion of sperm and ovum that is known as the fertilization, and the unit which was developed after the unit or fusion of the sperm and ovum that is known as the zygote. Conception and inception, they both are same. It is also known as the fertilization. It is the union of egg, that is ovum from the female, and sperm from the male, and it is also known as a fertilization. Okay, fertilization that normally take place in the outer third of the uterine tube. Uterine tube that is a fallopian tube. Okay. We have already learned about the anatomy and physiology of the fallopian tube. So outer third portion. There are four portions or four divisions of the uterine tube. If anyone remember which is the third portion, that is the ampulla, and it is also a longest part of the fallopian tube. So the fertilization that takes place in the ampulla of the uterine tube. Approximately 300 million spermatozoa or sperm. They are deposited in the vagina at the time of the ejaculation. Okay? So, at when there is a physical relation between male and female, and when there is a ejaculation of the sperm will be there, so the number of sperm at one ejaculation will be 300 millions, and from these 300 millions only worms one sperm will unite with the ovum. Path that is taken by the sperm and ovum for the fertilization. Okay. Here the female reproductive system, in that the uterine tube, in that this ampulla, it is the longest part 6 centimeter, and that is a main site where the unite or fertilization will take place. After a single sperm they enters the ovum, a membrane will be formed. Okay. So when there is a entry of the sperm inside the ovum, then the surrounding structure will be covered with the membrane, and that membrane they prevent the entry of more sperm. So from 300, no any sperm will able to enter inside the sperm because of this membrane. Next, the lifespan of ovum and sperm. The ovum is released at the time of ovulation. With ovulation, that is approximately 14 days after the menstruation. And the ovum, when it is released and after the release, it is able to fertile for approximately 6 to 24 hours after it is released from the ovary. So after the ovulation, the lifespan of ovum for able to conceive a pregnancy, that is 6 to 24 hours, and where the sperm are viable for up to 5 days after ejaculation. So lifespan of sperm is 5 days after the ejaculation. The nucleus of the sperm and ovum unite to form a zygote. So whatever the nucleus that is formed after the unite of sperm and ovum, that is known as the zygote, and the process by which they are uniting, that is known as the fertilization. Development of fertilized ovum. The fertilized ovum, they continue its passage through the fallopian tube, and it will reaches to the uterus in 3 to 4 days. Okay. So after the zygote has been formed in a fallopian tube, because that is only the site where there is a fertilization occurs, and this will reaches to the uterus in 3 to 4 days. Until that period it will be inside the fallopian tube, and that is a movable. During this time it undergoes segmentation or cell division and divides into 2, 4, 8 and 16. So the baby or fetus or embryo, they will develop by the cell division, and this zygote will be continually divided by this division 2, 4, 8 and 16, and until a mulberry-like ball of cell is formed, and that is known as a morula. Okay. So what is a morula? There is a zygote continually divides and mulberry ball-like structure is formed, and that is known as a morula. The division that is quite slowly, it about once in every 12 hours. Okay. So the division that is in one day, there are two divisions will be there. There is gradually accumulation of fluid in the morula that results in the formation of the blastocyst. Yeah. What is a blastocyst? Then the morula is there, and under that the accumulation of the fluids is there, and that accumulation of the fluids, they will result in the formation of the blastocyst. At the pole of blastocyst, there is a compact mass of cell and that is known as inner cell mass. Okay. So blastocyst, there are also two layers, inner and outer. So compact mass cell, that is known as inner cell mass. At this point, the cells of the zygote differentiated into two distinct types, that is embryoblast cells and trophoblast cells. Embryoblast cells, this cell continually divides and what will become the embryo itself and baby itself. Okay, so these two cells are there. One cells, that is embryoblastic cells, they will develop embryo or fetus. And second one is the trophoblastic cells, they form the placenta. Okay, so remember up to this. So we'll quickly revise up till the formation of these distinct cells. Okay. Embryology, that is period, that is 266 days, 38 weeks and 9 months. Okay. During that develop from one cell structure to a having a billions of cells, means when the birth of the baby is there, then there are billions of cells are there in their form. During that time, the development of the tissues, organs will be there. Definition: it is the study or branch of the science in which there is a study of the formation and development of the embryo from the moment it gets conception until it will born as an infant. Fertilization, that is a fusion of sperm and ovum. It is also known as conception and it takes place in the ampulla, that is third part of the uterine. At a one time, 300 million sperms will be deposited to the vagina at the time of ejaculation. Here, this is a diagram in which the ampulla is there. When there is a entry of one sperm is there, then the membrane will be formed and it will prevent the entry of more sperms. The lifespan of ovum 6 to 24 days after ovulation, for sperm 5 days after the ejaculation. The nucleus which is formed after the unite, that is known as the zygote. After that, there is a division of the zygote will be there. It will reaches to the uterus in 3 to 5 days. Will continually divides into 2, 4, 8 and 16 cell structures. First, from the zygote, means there is one ovum, one sperm will be there. After that, the zygote will be formed. Division of zygote will form the blastomere. From that, the unit will cover a marble-like ball of structure and that is known as the morula. And when the morula will be accumulated with the fluids, then it is known as the blastocyst. At the pole of blastocyst, there is a compact mass of cell which is known as inner cell mass. And at these points, the cells of the zygote they differentiated into two distinct types, that is embryoblastic cells and trophoblastic cells. Embryoblastic cells will help to develop the embryo or fetus and trophoblastic cells will help for the formation of the placenta. Next we will continue in the next class.